Good morning, everybody. I'm here with the amazing psychic Liz Cross. How are you doing today?
I'm trying to feel amazing. How are you?
I'm good. We're going to probe the tariff stuff, China, future things that are going to happen with this. Basically U.S.-China relations and what could possibly be on the horizon. Obviously, we're in the middle of a global trade war right now, but United States versus China seems to be the main event and all of this. So we want to know what's going forward. It's going to go on going forward. There could be some big implications from this, resolution or non-resolution, if it drags on. So we need to bring in some people. We're going to bring in Jinping.
Okay, we're gonna do a combo of mind probe and channeling here. For those of you that can't handle the mind probes, look away now. This is not confirmation bias, okay? This is real, authentic, personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions from what the whole smorgasbord of people are that we're going to channel or sorry, dip into here. So yeah, if you are, strongly held in your media beliefs, then this may not be the video for you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Also, just to remember, we do have tip jars listed down below. Thank you so much.
So, all right, let's move on with this. So we're going to bring in Jinping and we're going to bring in Trump, obviously. So those are living entities, and then we're going to bring in the founding fathers also. As usual, Tim Cook would probably be good. I think I have
Mm,
him here. Tim Cook.
okay.
I don't know if we brought him ever in before. He's the CEO of Apple.
Mm-hmm.
And who else did we say? Sorry,
Steve
Steve
Jobs.
Jobs.
We
That's what I
got to
meant to
do,
say, actually. Steve Jobs. Yeah,
yeah.
Steve Jobs. Right. Okay. Um, all right. So we want to know right now.
Oh,
Uh,
90 days from Trump's Liberation Day.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go July 30th. This is a very fast moving situation. Let's go July 1st, 2025, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. What would you like to know?
Well, first of all, are the tariffs still effect on China?
Are the tariffs still effect on China? No. So I've got Jinping down in the future in July, and I'm getting no. It's all been resolved.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, I guess we can ask them when it got resolved.
When
Um,
did it get? I feel May. Okay. I
okay.
do feel May. It gets resolved.
So the
Now, what is coming through very strong
mhm,
is that, and again, this is something that you mentioned slightly before we hit the record button, but Trump is securing deals and people are securing deals elsewhere. They're looking outside of China to make deals with other countries. And this is really putting China on very shaky ground. Okay. Now, the reason this probe came around was the fact that a lot of people are turning, a lot of Chinese citizens, people that do business in China, they are really getting upset and turning against the CCP because they have now been used to doing business for a very long time freely, being able to run their businesses, make money, grow their wealth. And this stubbornness and this hitting back, what the implications could be. And I feel it as I'm probing him that the implications are factories will have to close. If people are no longer able to buy Chinese products anymore, then a lot of people are going to be out of business. A lot of people are going to be out of work. And they're turning against the CCP because of this. Now, is the CCP party going to go anywhere? Now, as I ask that question, I'm getting a no, a very strong no.
yeah. Yeah, if that were to happen, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I've never been to China, and I'm not really that versed in the culture. But I would imagine that if the CCP were to go away, it wouldn't be without a fight. It would be a revolution. And revolutions are, sometimes bloody, most of the time bloody, right? So, um,
Oh, yeah. So let's
yeah,
ask this question. Is there going to be somewhat of a revolution? No, no, there isn't. Because as I'm looking into this, I've got the founding fathers and Steve Jobs here, both saying no. They are terrified of the CCP. They are absolutely terrified. They know that a lot of blood will be shed. Family
yeah,
members will disappear. Businesses will be closed down. People who are going against the CCP will be locked away, possibly just disappeared, never to be seen or heard from again. So,
yeah,
I think a lot of, because of the years that have passed, a lot of people have, and because of the businesses and the capitalism that is emerging out of China, I think we've forgotten, a lot of people have forgotten just how brutal the Chinese regime actually is.
oh yeah,
So well, I'm getting a no on that revolution. That was a good
okay,
question.
yep, okay. So some of these questions are now invalid as this seems to be resolved next month. But I guess we could still ask, this tariff war that did occur, will it have effects on the midterm elections in the US?
Oh, will the tariff war have effects on? Yes, it will. There are going to be seats lost in the midterm election. Now, with regards to these Doge checks, because some people have been getting notifications that per household, or each household is going to get a few $1,000s. Has that happened from when we get to the midterms? I'm getting a no. On a mass scale, no.
Yeah,
How do they keep the mid to the road? Do the Republicans win the midterms? I mean, I feel like they do, but it's going to be a really difficult fight.
yeah. Okay. Um, can we ask how the Asian countries in general perceive the US tariffs on China? Are they supportive or are they against this?
Hmm. Okay, let me group them. So let's group them together. How do you feel about these tariffs on the USA? They think it's terrible. Or the tariffs that the USA is imposing upon them.
Well, the Asian
Mm.
countries, that's the question. But I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I think like countries outside of China that are Asian, some of them don't like China very much. So I don't know how they would feel about the two. Maybe they might be happy with the tariffs on China. I don't know.
Oh, right. I see. Are you happy about this tariff war with China and the USA? No, no, because they're saying ultimately it hurts all of us.
Sure. Okay.
Are you happy about the fact that the US has raised tariffs? No, not at all. And in fact, they're already suffering.
Right.
Okay. What I'm getting very strongly is people have already been made redundant. They've been laid off.
Yeah.
Jobs have been lost. Actually, quite a few jobs have been lost. People are out of work just simply because of this. And
Yeah.
we're not that long into it, really.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I think people, the companies are front running this. They don't maybe, they see what's coming, what's possible, so they're taking action preventatively. Um, okay, so I guess the founding fathers, I guess, or maybe even Steve Jobs, how likely is manufacturing to return to the United States in significant amounts in the coming years?
How much will manufacturing, how likely? No, it's only going to be very small amounts.
Yeah, I don't.
Um,
And
yeah.
I think it's more likely what we saw today. It was just announced that Apple is going to have American iPhones produced in India. So, China's not going to be the only place that you're going to get cheap manufacturing uh, for these electronic goods. So you're going to have other countries benefit from this and they're going to spread their risk around, right?
Are they
So,
going to spread their risk around? They are. They absolutely are going to spread their risk around. Yes, is what I'm getting. And what will they keep? Is this something new? Are we going to see move manufacturing moving away from China from this? Yes, I do feel that.
Mm,
If it does nothing else,
yeah,
it will have highlighted how vulnerable we are, the world, not just the United States, of having one country produce, and what Steve Jobs is saying, like 90% of our goods.
yeah, that's a good point. So usually what happens when everybody feels the pain, they're like, okay, maybe we should decentralize this a bit and move our manufacturing to a few different countries just in case. Okay. So
Well, what is coming through very strongly as well is, you know, these American companies, they also feel, this is from Steve Jobs, they also feel very betrayed by the Chinese, right? They were invited over there to do business, to bring their manufacturing to China. They were given tax breaks so that they could manufacture items and goods in China at a much cheaper cost, okay, and still importing them to their country of choice. It would still make a large profit for them. So even the US companies or outside companies, they feel betrayed by the Chinese. That is coming through very strongly. And, they've always been apprehensive of the Chinese. I'm getting also from Steve Jobs that whenever large companies even talk about moving manufacturing outside of China goes into panic mode.
yeah,
They really don't want to lose any business. They don't want to lose any of these companies going to, and what he is saying, like Brazil, South America, India, going into like Indonesia, the Philippines, Vietnam. There are a lot of choices to be had out there, but the Chinese have tried to secure it as much as possible to keep and to continue to encourage these companies to have the manufacturing in China. But
yeah.
because of this 125% and then raising, I'll I'm not showing you my cards. I'll raise you. It's like a game of poker, right? I'm gonna raise you whatever, 100%. And it's actually backfiring against the Chinese government in a very big way. So you have a lot of pressure, he says, coming in from these large companies that are wanting to have these very, very important meetings with the Chinese government over the tariffs, because if it's impossible for them to do business there, they will leave. They will pack up and go. They're looking at the long-term numbers, not the short-term numbers. So this taking a stand um is not doing anybody any good. Again, job losses over there, the potential of factories closing down, mass unemployment, companies vacating. So so with this actually, I mean, I don't feel that most people like the CCP, and they don't. He says they don't. They hate them. They hate them, but they are in control of so many aspects of their life. So will we see Chinese businessmen, like, will we see them leave? Will we have mass numbers leaving the country? No, I don't feel that they will really be allowed to.
Oh, yeah.
And so what can you tell us? Is this the beginning of the end of the CCP? No. Will
No,
this
but
CCP ever be like overthrown, or will they ever get rid of the CCP? I don't feel that they will. I'm
wow,
getting a no.
that's kind of scary. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
because they're only going to get more powerful, I would think, especially with technology. Um,
Oh,
okay.
absolutely. And see, this goes into Mr. Photon, what we've come up with before, which is if you have a large portion of the population going out into the future, living on universal basic income. So when you live on benefits, when you live on universal basic income, that's essentially the government is now in control of your life, right?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of scary. We're seeing examples of this now.
Yeah, we're going to turn off your funds if you don't do XYZ. So, and that's what they, you have the social credit system in China. I hear different things. I hear people that come from China and say, "Oh, it's not as big deal as they say as it is." And you see on, videos on YouTube or whatever. And then I see other people saying, "No, no, no, it's real." Like it's 100% real. It's just kind of candy coated. But yeah, they can turn off things for you if you're not you jaywalk and you get fined like immediately. It's pretty crazy. All the cameras and everything. It's all going to be connected to AI, obviously. So I don't know. It looks scary to me, but then again,
Well,
we've
and
been
don't forget, you can't have a lot of platforms are censored. A
yeah,
lot of news organizations are censored. So you're not getting the full picture here, most of the time. It's usually when people go undercover or you hear someone who does business in China on a regular
sure,
basis.
sure,
Um, but at the end of the day, what I'm getting very strongly is from Steve Jobs. He's saying what people want, the Chinese people want, is they want the government to move out of the way.
yeah,
They want to be able to do business.
yeah,
So Jinping, he's under a lot of pressure.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so will the U.S.-China trade deficit become more balanced within the next year? If we can ask the uh, Apple founder, I guess, and the founding fathers.
Okay, well, will it become more balanced in the next year? I mean, it will become a little more balanced, but it's always this, it's not even.
Hmm.
Let's ask Trump. Are you just trying to make it even? Is that what the tariff wars are about? If we tax somebody 10%, they tax us 10%. Is that your ultimate goal? I mean, he says his ultimate goal is 0% tax. Now, I'm saying but it has to be from both sides.
Yeah, for sure. Um, will will China substantially reduce fentanyl exports to the United States over the coming year?
Will China reduce the fentanyl exports over the coming year? No,
Yeah, I think so.
but
Uh,
is it fentanyl legally or illegally? Because I feel what I'm getting is, how much of our medication is actually manufactured? Like, again, here we go again. 80 to 90% is what I'm getting
oh yeah,
from the founding fathers of manufacturing of medications.
yep, absolutely,
What if there's a major world disaster in that area? Then what?
exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the modern world is very fragile. We just don't really can't really see it. Um, okay, what are I mean, what can we ask Trump? What I guess what are the ideal negotiation terms? You said he wants 0% tax, but what is he gonna accept?
What are the ideal negotiation terms? Um, he says as fair a deal as possible. What do you think about the Chinese slapping a large tariff? He goes, well, we're just going to keep hitting them back. He says, well, he knows. Okay, so here's the thing. Trump, are you aware that, Chinese factories could close down? He's fully aware. He's saying, I've even done business in China. I'm fully aware of the pressure that they're under. And are you aware that there could be mass unemployment? Yes, he is aware. If Americans cannot buy goods because they cannot afford to buy those goods. It's not a matter of wanting to buy them, it's a matter of can they buy them. He says he has his own personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions. He's saying he has the potential to shut the whole China, he says China down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so what so how does this get resolved? Is this just like one day it's announced that, the tariffs are coming down completely, or is it like a slow easing back off?
Well, how does this get resolved? Is it an easy? No, it's a hard and fast negotiation.
Right.
Okay. Are you negotiating? I'm asking Trump, are you actually negotiating with the Chinese at the moment? It's iffy. Okay. There's a lot of private Chinese citizens that are in talks with the US government because they can see that their businesses are about to be destroyed. And then they're going to try to influence the Chinese government to persuade them. Okay. But right now, are you in talks with Jinping over the tariffs? I mean, no, the guy's digging in his heels.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's what the news is saying, that China's saying we're not negotiating right now. We're not at the table. Trump is saying that we're almost making a deal or we're getting close to a deal. So who's bluffing here? Is it Trump or is it Jinping? Xiping.
Ooh, who's bluffing here? Is it Trump? So Trump is trying to make a deal with the price. I see where he's coming from, right? He believes that the Chinese do not have a choice. Okay. Even though they are exercising their choice at the moment, ultimately, the, the far reaching ramifications of this, if it continues, is it's going to hurt the Chinese more than it does us. And I'm saying, well, hold on. We've already predicted that there may be, actually, not maybe, there will be a 10 to 30% real inflation, more inflation that other than what we've already just had because of these tariff wars. And so Trump believes that we are in a better negotiating position. Even the American economy and the American people are in a better negotiating position. I'm going to tell him, I'm like, okay, you may think that, but the average person cannot afford to pay another 10% inflation. And he says, well, I'm aware of that. But, you know, he just thinks that the end result will be, if this continues, that people just won't buy the goods.
Yeah.
But won't that have a knock-on effect here in the US? Yeah, of course it'll have a knock-on effect. We will see unemployment, but we're not going to see unemployment on the mass scale, a manufacturing scale that the Chinese will see. He's saying millions of people will be put out of work.
Yeah. Okay, well, we know that this, or at least we're seeing now that it gets resolved in May, and it's a hard and fast. It's resolved. I think the economy is going to respond really whenever that does happen. It's going to boost the markets for sure. Um, so are we thinking like beginning of May, end of May that gets resolved?
The beginning of May. No, it's more towards middle to the end of May is
Okay.
when we start to see some resolution. Now, how the economy, as we've gotten before, is going to spring back into action or certainly receive some sort of boost, it's going to be A, the Doge checks, right?
Yeah.
And B, the coming down of federal tax
So,
rates.
and
But
interest.
I'm
Yeah.
saying to Trump, are you in the position at the moment to bring or to get rid of these federal tax rates? He says, we're working on it. Is that your ultimate goal? I mean, yeah, he thinks that we can have a nation that does not have a federal income tax. He says it's ridiculous. We are wealthy enough. Now, there are countries out there that do not have those types of income taxes. I mean, they're few and far between
Oh yeah.
because they are so wealthy.
Yeah, I mean, the United States prints its own money. There's there's no way you guys need to pay income taxes. Like if you actually really think about it, it's silly. But it's not that it's that people are making a lot of money off of the income taxes for sure. If you could track and trace where all those income taxes go, well, I mean that's what Doge is, ultimately just trying to do to some degree, right? Government spending, but you don't want to see how the sausage is made, I don't think, at the end of the day. I think there's
Right, right.
so much backlash at the end of it, but for sure, I think it's totally doable. More than people could think. It's just that once you pass a law, it's really hard to get rid of the law, because there's so much interest involved in the law being the law. Now, is that realistic? Like, I know it's possible, but is that actually going to happen? Can we ask the founding fathers within a Trump administration where there's zero federal income tax, right?
Is that going to happen within the Trump administration that there's going to be a 0% federal? I think it's very, very possible.
Wow, that would be
Yeah.
very interesting. Okay.
Now, the problem is that once those, see, here's what they're saying. Once those federal income taxes come down, though, states like California, and where else? Like the high tax states, they'll see it. Oh, well, there's more money to be taxed now. So they will actually raise their income tax
Oh yeah,
on their residents.
sure.
So will we see another mass exodus out of these high tax states? Are we going to see that again? No, I mean, because some tax relief is better than no tax relief. We just had a whole mass, movement of people leaving high tax states, going into no tax states, right? And they've actually made it very uncomfortable for the people that have generally enjoyed no tax, is a low cost of living as well. But because of this massive influx coming into these areas, now the price, house prices have gone through the roof. But are we going to see that again? No, I don't think that we will see that again. So, if you get zero or close to zero federal income tax, and then you have these, states that have quite a lot of income tax, state income tax. If they actually relocated to a no income tax state, they could basically live tax free.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like it seems to offer more of an incentive without the federal income tax for them to stay.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, do we want to make this a part two to this video, or are we just going to keep it rolling?
We can keep it rolling.
All right, sounds good. So China's geopolitical position and internal affairs. That's what we're going to get into next. So
Ooh.
number one, let's ask Jinping if he believes that China would prevail in a military conflict with the United States.
If
Honestly,
he
what
went
do you believe that?
into a military conflict with the United States, do you think he would win? It would be a very tough battle, he says. Do you think that you would win? No.
Okay, all right.
I'm
Will,
surprised by that answer.
yeah, what you're asking is higher self, right?
Well, I'm asking, yes, not the
Kind of
conscious mind.
conscious mind. That's what I meant, not the conscious mind. So,
But if
um,
he was to go on national TV, he'd
oh,
say, yeah,
there's
we're
no
gonna crush
way.
him,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's no way that he would admit that publicly, or probably even to any of his colleagues. He would be, I would imagine. Okay, will China attempt to invade Taiwan within the next 2 years? Maybe we can ask the founding fathers.
Will China and attempt to invade Taiwan in the next? No.
Well, that's good news. We don't want that. Okay, so that kind of nixes out some of the other questions here. Is China waiting for a change in US leadership before taking action on Taiwan?
Ooh, are you waiting for a change in US leadership before taking action? Yes, they will not do that while Trump is in power.
Right. That's what everybody thinks. That's like the common thought. Okay.
But let's ask this question of Trump. If China invaded Taiwan under your watch, would you get involved militarily? Absolutely not.
Interesting.
He's adamant. He's always said that. I do not want to be involved in conflict.
Sure. Yeah. That would be a sticky situation though. Okay. Well, it looks like it's not on the table anyway, so we don't have to worry about that for a while. Um, okay, so next section would be let's ask the founding fathers about Fort Knox.
Ooh.
Does it contain the full gold reserves claimed in official audits?
Does it contain the full gold reserves as claimed in the official audits? No, I think it's going to come up short.
And the gold that they do have there, is it pure or is it full of tungsten?
Is the gold there pure or full of tungsten? Mostly pure.
Okay. Is there any tungsten in there?
Is there any tungsten? A little bit, yes.
Okay, interesting. All right. If you don't know, tungsten is a substance, a metal that weighs the exact same weight as gold. And what, people have done is they've, the big gold bars, they've hollowed them out and put tungsten inside. So you would never be able to tell unless you literally cut it in half. So it'd weigh the same.
Ooh.
There's a lot of fake gold out there, gold bars. Um,
I
will
did not know that. So they could like gold, like cover it in gold or like have a gold plated,
Yes, like half of it's
tungsten.
gold or whatever, the inside. So
Oh,
it's like half the
I,
weight, but really the same
oh,
weight in gold. Okay. Will rare earth mineral processing shift away from Chinese dominance?
mineral processing shift away from Chinese dominance. Yes, we are starting to see a shift. Yes.
And what part of the world would that move to?
What part of the world is that going to move to? Africa.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah. I mean, it's right there. A lot of the might as well do it on site, right? That's where a lot of it's being mined. Okay. So which countries in Africa would that be? Nigeria?
Which countries in Africa? I'm getting like South Africa, Uganda, Sudan, although the Sudanese are in the middle of a war as far as I'm aware.
Hmm.
Uh, but a lot of these countries would welcome that investment.
Oh yeah, I would think so. Okay, will Apple relocate the majority of its smartphone manufacturing outside of China within the next 5 years?
No, within the next 10.
Okay, all right.
Now,
Uh,
we've always gotten from Steve Jobs that, this is really the end of Apple, right?
oh yeah,
It
that's right.
saw its heyday. Is it going to come up with anything really innovative? No, not really. Is it going to enter into the AI? I mean, it is going to try to enter into the AI with the phones and things like that. Any new AI products coming out from Apple? No.
Hmm.
So Steve Jobs may be biased, but he says this is just Apple coasting now to the end.
Okay. What about, so now we're gonna move on to Tesla. So will Tesla fully release autonomous self-driving technology in Austin this year? And how could that affect Tesla's stock price?
Will Tesla release fully self-driving, what are they? Autonomous vehicles in Austin this year. Well, no,
Well, how far out are they from having fully autonomous self-driving technology on the road legally?
how far are they out from having this self-driving, fully autonomous? They're actually quite a ways out on a mass scale, quite a ways out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So how many years are we? 5 to 10?
Okay.
It's changing the mindset as well.
Hmm. Okay, and then on to artificial intelligence. Which country or company will emerge as the leader in AI over the next few years?
Which country or company will emerge as the leader of AI within the next few years? It's going to be the US.
Okay. And would, the leading company, would that be NVIDIA?
The leading company be NVIDIA. As far as like the chips and things are concerned, the components, but the AI systems themselves, like, putting them into action.
Would it be like ChatGPT or OpenAI?
Yeah, is it Chat GPT or OpenAI? I feel like it's going to be, Microsoft is going to be up there,
Mhm.
very, but the ability to compete is going to be, they're going to run neck and neck a lot of these companies for a while. What's bigger, what's badder, what's newer,
Yeah,
um, who will come out on top? Are they even a company at the moment? Yes, okay. And who will come out on top in the end? Uh, Google, Microsoft, it's a toss up, really.
yeah. So they're
Meta, no.
gonna test and something that Elon Musk is working on.
What about Tesla? Is that gonna work on, is that gonna be one of the leaders
Well,
in
he has Grok,
AI?
the his
Grok? Is that going to be I mean, it's going to be one of the leaders, but ultimately, is it going to be the leader? No. Is it going to be I think it's OpenAI. I think OpenAI. And now I don't know which company is behind OpenAI. Can you tell
well,
us, Miss?
OpenAI is behind ChatGPT. So it would make sense. They're the market leader right now, I think.
So OpenAI, sorry for my ignorance. OpenAI is the company.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like a subsidiary of like another company.
Um, I don't know, but I mean, like Chat GPT is the product of OpenAI. It
Oh,
was a
okay.
foundation. And I think now they're changing that over. They already have changed it over to like the company.
Okay. OpenAI is going to be the leader. Now, are they on the stock market?
OpenAI, that's a good question. I don't know if they're publicly traded.
Ooh, so let's
I
look
mean,
at that
I
because
think
that's going to
everybody,
be,
if they're not, I mean, everybody's probably already looking at that. Um,
mm,
here.
yeah. OpenAI is a privately held company, so not publicly traded. Will it end up being publicly traded in the future? It will.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're not going to get in early on that, I don't think, though.
Oh, gosh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, it's when those big things are already big like that, usually you're not going to be an insider. The insider's already in. So you'll be able to get in like, after it comes out, it pumps, it dumps. That's when you get in kind of deal. But don't be thinking you're getting in really early on that at the beginning, anyways. There'll be opportunities to get it for good prices, but probably not day one.
So let's ask this question. The AI ETFs that are out there at the moment, obviously when OpenAI goes public, they will be able to incorporate OpenAI into these ETFs. Yes. So would it be a good idea to get into some of these AI ETFs now? Oh, it's an excellent idea, Jobs
Sure.
is saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
These
sure.
are long-term holds.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. So OpenAI, I mean, Anything that you can get into that eventually, it would be great. They're not going anywhere. Nvidia has had its ups and downs, but I mean, it's literally like the picks and shovels of the whole operation, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we always got is robotics, right? Robotics is also going to be like the next generation, like life-changing investment. It's not going anywhere. It's going to become the new blue chip. So I think that's really,
Absolutely. And
I think,
so this
yeah,
this is where I question Jinping because, you know, eventually these companies, these factories, the manufacturing in China, they will use robotics. Yeah, absolutely. So then, what happens to all the people that were working in these manufacturing hubs? What will happen to them? They will become unemployed.
yeah, like we always think here in the West, oh, our manufacturing's already gone here. Right. So yeah, AI is going to disrupt people's jobs here, but it's going to be massive in disrupting jobs in those countries that are all manufacturing now. So what the heck happens over there? I don't know.
Right. And will they be able to support a universal basic income if there are no jobs available? So let's ask this question. Excuse me, how many years until robotics starts really taking over the manufacturing jobs in China? It's a good 10 to 20 years off at the moment. You're going to see, the slow creep. But let's ask this question. At what percentage 20 years from now will robotics have replaced Chinese workers? About 75%.
Wow.
So, even if we moved some of the manufacturing back here to the US and eventually they're replaced with robots
Anyway.
anyway. So let's ask Trump that question. What do you intend to do? I mean, you're wanting to move manufacturing back to the USA. He goes, "Yeah, that's right." But what about 10, 20 years in the future when most of the manufacturing is done by robots? You know what? He hasn't actually thought that far ahead.
I thought you were going to say he's invested in all the
Yeah,
robotics companies.
probably. Probably. Yeah,
That's the
really.
move,
No,
right? It is. You bring all the manufacturing back over here and then you invest in the manufacturing companies that are going to power it all.
you know what? I'm surprised by that answer. He hasn't actually thought that far ahead. Okay. So what do you think is going to happen when robotics takes over or robots take over most of the manufacturing jobs? People are going to be out of work. And then what is the US going to do? Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. And of course, this is so new. How is anybody? I'm not trying to make excuses for anyone here, but it's kind of like, how does anybody know what to do? This is, again, a new era. How are they going to prepare for this?
Mm. Yeah.
This is why we encourage our Patreon subscribers to prepare,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think that's all the questions that we have here, unless there's anything else you want to ask.
Let's ask Jobs, is there anything else you want to give us? Will quantum computing eventually take over AI? Yes, but that's really far out in the future.
Yeah.
We're doing this in stages. I know that some of the Patreon subscribers, they're so smart. I know that they're thinking it really far ahead out into the future about the quantum computing, but I think this is one baby step at a time is what I'm getting. It's just, we got to get to grips with the AI. A generation has to die out, the generation that will not be able to function, not saying that all, but this high tech stuff coming in, it becomes harder for them. And so it's gonna, how many generation, one or two that's gonna die out before oh no, 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 no. It's like 4 generations will die out before quantum computing takes hold.
Okay. All right, that's way far out. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Will
Well,
Bitcoin stay forever? Yeah, it will.
wow.
Will
Okay.
Bitcoin be around in 100 years? Yes.
Wow. Crazy. Yeah, well, I mean, theoretically, as long as we don't lose power, we still have civilization. Bitcoin should still be running. Um, I guess the better question is it still relevant in 100 years?
Is this still relevant? Yes, extremely relevant,
Interesting.
right? Bitcoin will be like the rare gold bar
Right. Gotcha.
in due time. Okay. We're not talking about now. I know, you know what gets me is people, they want to buy like a stock or they want to buy something and then they expect it to make money instantly. Like for them, okay, if I buy it on the Monday, I want it to, make money by Friday. Like, it's this is not what he's talking about here. He's talking about long-term holdings, very long-term.
Yeah.
And who will be ultimately going out 200 years? Who will ultimately be the leader or the main holder of Bitcoin? It's going to be the USA.
Wow. Okay. Very
I mean,
interesting.
because I know the Chinese mine it, don't they?
Well, no, they have equally as amount. They have a little bit more than the US currently holds, actually, officially. So I think what is it? 190,000 Bitcoins, I think China has, and we have like 180,000, something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So is
Well,
we can ask Jinping, are they trying to compete with the United States for how much Bitcoin they hold?
are you trying to compete with the US of how much Bitcoin you hold? No, he's not.
Okay.
See, when I tap into his mindset, he doesn't look at the US as a competitor. He
Oh.
really doesn't. Do you see the US as a competitor? No. That era is gone. According to Jinping's personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, that era of anyone competing against China is gone. China, do you believe that China is the superpower? Like in his mind, yes, the Chinese are the superpower, the nation. They have all the wealth. They have worked very hard. He says this has taken decades to secure all of this. Was this a well-defined plan? Yes, it was, of the Communist Party.
Hmm.
This was the agenda of the Communist Party. Absolutely. To control all the food. So you want to control all the food, yep, or at least a majority of the world's food supply. And what about medications? Yes, medications, manufacturing. This was what they were always intending to do. And do you feel that the CCP has been successful? Extremely, extremely successful. Does China have a lot of money? He says that they do.
Okay. All right. Well,
So why do you believe that if you went to war with the US, you would not win? He, because why? It's more about the approach. What do you mean the approach? The approach to war. So what is that supposed to mean?
what type of war they would do, like the type of
Oh, is it the type of war? Yes, and also they would not attack first.
Hmm. Okay. They would not attack first. Gotcha. Okay.
That's what he says, his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions as of today.
Okay, I have an idea here. Since you have Trump there, let's ask him. There was a quote from one of his press conferences recently that I watched, and I think a lot of people didn't notice it, but he said, "We have weapons available that nobody understands." Something, the quote to that effect, like nobody even knows we have. It's incredible. you know how he talks, like, and then that was
The
it. It's
best
like,
weapons that anybody's ever seen. Yeah.
yeah, or not even that, but like stuff that nobody's ever seen. You know what I mean? It's like you know what I mean? It's like he was like alluding. It sounded like he was alluding to like their top secret stuff that they have.
Okay. Let's ask
And
him.
so yeah, let's ask Trump, like, what was he really referring to there? Am I reading in too much of it, or does he know about some crazy, was he briefed on some crazy technology that they have?
What about all of these weapons that nobody's, you say nobody, yeah, it's true. Okay. And what sort of things are those? These are things that can wipe people off the map. Okay. Wipe countries off the map. They're lasers.
Oh, interesting. Are they space based?
Are they space-based? Yes.
You don't hear a lot about his space force. I don't know a lot about it, at least, anyways. Is he referring to something that his quote unquote space force has?
Are you referring? No, this is US military.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting.
They're laser weapons.
Interesting. Okay.
Now we've just given away all of our secrets. Liz will go into
Well,
hiding.
not really. I mean, it's like people have like already, speculated on that stuff, right? Like you can
Mm,
go on YouTube and you can type that in, and that's space weapons and stuff like that. It's not like, yeah, it's top secret, whatever it is. We don't know exactly what it is or how, how it works and all that, but you know, there's like there's companies that are building that stuff that are like military industrial complex. Like, I'm sure it's like Lockheed, the regular usual suspects, robotics companies and stuff like that. Whoever it is that's manufacturing for the US government, those contractors, if you go
hmm
and look at their the stuff that they're like building, you could kind of see what they're doing. But, whatever it is that he's talking about, I'm sure we don't, it's top secret, and, it's beyond our ability to speculate on it. But
So
yeah.
let's ask the Chinese. Do you have laser weapons? I mean, they do. Do you have laser weapons that are can be shot from space? They're working on it. Ooh, let's ask Iran. Do you have laser weapons? Yes, they do. And do you have weapons that can be shot from space? No, not yet. Okay, let's ask the Russians. Let's ask Putin, do you have laser weapons? They're working on them. So this seems to be the next sort of, as far as we are aware, the next big thing. So let's ask this question to the panel here in spirit. If we ever came down to some sort of laser war, and the way they're showing it to me, it's like you would take a laser beam, a very, long and wide one, and you would just basically start at one side of the country and you would just, go all the way across and you would wipe out everything that is there. They could not withstand the heat, so what would we do? Like, how could we avoid these laser weapons? You would have to be so deep underground. So what about caves? Could we hide in caves? They would have to be, how far underground would they have to be? A mile? No, a half a mile, about half a mile underground, because even as these laser weapons, as I'm being shown, they can sear right into the ground too, and just dissolve everything. So you would have to be at least what, half a mile underground. Yeah, you would have to be like half a mile underground. Now that is very deep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are bunkers here in the United States that have been reported that people are building that are like that far underneath ground. So maybe that's why they're building them. Because they know that there's laser weapons.
Yeah, let's ask this question. Would rock, if we had like a bunker sort of like above ground, but it was it was encased in rock, very thick rock, could that withstand the lasers? No. No.
Yeah.
Will we ever see a laser war? I think we would come close to it at times. but I'm getting a no. Thank God.
Okay.
Right. But then they also have things where, now you basically use drones and you can use drone strikes, if they fund like terrorist encampments and things like that. But from what they're saying to me is, can you actually, this is how this advanced this is going to be. It's kind of scary, right?
Mhm.
And this is why people need to be very, very careful with the amount of information they're putting out there. And what I'm about to tell you is, this is why. Will they be able, so if they have somebody's DNA on profile or somebody's facial recognition, something, they do the biometric data. Will they be able to use like laser targeting weapons, things like that? Yeah, see, I knew that. I knew that's what they were building up to because they were trying to explain it to me. So basically, you're a wanted person, or for whatever reason, they want to like zap you, or, they in the future, biometric data and through facial recognition and things like that, if you're the person that they've been looking for a very long time and you happen to be walking on the street, they could actually, send that laser beam down from wherever space and you know what I mean? Like that's it. You're vaporized at that moment
Mhm.
with minimal disruption to those around them is what I'm getting.
Wow. Wow. So you just vaporized standing next to somebody. It's crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Will that happen? I mean, it will happen in extreme circumstances in the future. Okay. This is going way out. I don't want anybody to think this is now in the here and now. This is going way out.
yeah.
So, hopefully people are still listening to my videos and they're like, "Yeah, Liz, you told us to stay off the grid and use VPNs and, not put your identification out there as, try to keep it as minimal as possible." Yeah. Will we have facial recognition cameras everywhere in the future? Yeah,
I
we
think we
will.
already do.
Yeah.
I mean, we already do. The cameras are already there. Now it's just pairing it up with the AI. I think that's going on. That's already here. I mean,
Is
that
AI akin to communism? It's the new form of communism.
right. Yeah, it's the technocracy. Uh,
Ooh, I love that term. It is. It's the new, is this the new political? It's like the new communism. AI is the new communism. Now, I'm
wow.
not saying it isn't useful, because it can be very, very useful, but that's because where we are at the moment in time, it will become a point of control later on in the future. Just think about CCTV,
I just had
right?
a funny thought. It's like we're all partying in the hippie commune right now, but at some
Mm.
point it turns into like, communist Russia and gulags and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah, it
sorry,
does.
but I just had that thought.
You probably, want to, yeah. Well, what you want to do, so let's ask this question. So, how do we avoid this in the future? Is it that we rise above it through financial means? I mean, again, money is freedom, money is power. So, going out into the future, the way you avoid a lot of these things is you will be able to combat it, but you have to have the money to do so. So you'll have the money to be in your bunkers, right? And to um isolate. Are we going to isolate more in the future? Yeah, absolutely. So again, with the COVID thing, that was the start of the isolation. We're moving more into isolation. What about growing our own food and things like that? Yes, because is food going to become a luxury item in the future? Well, it's already, for those of us that have kids and bills and mouths to feed and bills to pay, it already is becoming a luxury item. Is it
Healthy
going
food.
to become more of a luxury item in the future? Yes. And don't forget what we've gotten on so many probes, which is land becomes one of the most valuable, if not the valuable, apart from Bitcoin, if not the valuable asset in the future.
Yeah,
Very, very important.
yeah, absolutely. There's only so much land. Can't make more of it. Can't make
Mm.
more Bitcoin, can't make more land on Earth. So
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, that's why they're so valuable because they're in limited supply.
yeah.
Mm. So will the CCP still be present and relevant in 100 years? Um, I don't believe, what are you saying to me? In 100 years, they will have had to change tactics.
Okay. So it's not like they probably get forced out, but they just evolve into something else, probably.
Is it that they just evolve into? Yes, they will have to. They'll be forced into evolving into something else. So, you're looking at a communist regime with its main agenda of capitalism. Like, good grief. Can you? Those are two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But if you think about it, it makes sense. And will the Chinese continue to hold a majority of all of the supply that? No. See, again, a lot of people, they may want to be upset about what's going on at the moment, and myself included. Nobody wants their bills going.
Hmm.
But this is a real eye opener for people to take stock and say, you know what, we can't have them controlling and manufacturing and, in charge of every aspect of our lives, which is what their agenda was.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we will end this off with the space lasers.
Yeah, the space
AI
laser. Oh
apocalypse.
my God.
AI apocalypse.
I don't think it will come to that.
I know. I'm
And
just
and don't forget, we're not going to have like soldiers. You know how they have like boots on the ground now with Russia, Ukraine.
yeah,
That's not the way it's going to be in the future. In
right,
the future, it's going to be my robot is bigger than your robot.
right. Yeah, that's scary also.
It is scary, but will robots be set out to kill innocent civilians? I mean, there will always be casualties of war, is what I'm getting. But what does it stop like people from being killed? Do we see, who cares if the robots kill each other, right? You can just make more. But will we still see these territorial wars, like if somebody wants to take over a particular territory, they just send in their robots. What happens to the humans that live there? Well, they have to go on the run, but then the line of defense, will that be robotics as well? Yeah. So you're going to see like these robot wars and, autonomous tanks and weapons. It's definitely going to change as
Sure.
we're going out. Now, this is going more 50, 60 years out, is what I'm getting. But I don't see, look, war's terrible, however you look at it. It's always terrible. But I'd rather they killed robots than they killed human beings. So hopefully will this in the end save more human lives? Yes, it will when there's conflict. So
But there's
yes.
not going to be like a Terminator scenario. That's how it happens in the movies. They create the robots that are, military robots, right? And then the AI comes in and takes them over and says, "Well, why do we need humans anymore?" And then they turn on us, and then there's no more humans. So
Do
that's
the
the
robots ever turn on us? Do the robots ever turn on us? I feel like there is an element of that, yes. But en masse, no. No, because ultimately we are the ones that are in control of, the programming of the robots. Will we be able to just turn a switch? Yeah, we'll still be able to unplug them. Um, that movie always scared me. I don't like scary stuff and I don't like violent movies and things like that. So I've never really paid much attention to that movie. I
yeah,
didn't know how it how that happened.
yeah,
Um, so will AI eventually find a way to develop a soul? No,
no. Well, that's
because
the thing.
you don't want them developing souls to then occupy AI bodies and robots.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if they don't have empathy, then that's really what it comes down to. You know what I mean? If they don't program empathy into these things and then they become autonomous, then that would be very dangerous.
Will they program empathy? No. Do they have the ability to feel empathetic? No, they don't have the ability to feel empathy. They may offer empathetic,
Program.
noises. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, how terrible. They can offer that, but at the end of the day, will robots ever actually feel the emotions on the scale that we feel them? And that's a no.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, start, preparing for your robot overlords. Teach your children what's
And your
coming.
laser bunkers. Oh
Your laser
God. I
bunkers.
didn't know we were going to end up here today, but
Oh,
it's always good to channel Steve Jobs. He's great. We
sure.
always get a lot of good information. And again, thank you to you, Mr. Photon. We really appreciate it, all you do for us. So again, folks, don't forget the backup channel in the comments, Photon's tip jar in the comments, and the Patreon link. So thank you so much.
Thank you.